All right. So Masters pricing is out. I have not looked at it as of yet. I have just brought it up on the screen in front of me. I want to help me build a gut reaction lineup to the Masters. All right.
Let me go find it real quick because
Sergio, McIntyre, Akshay. That's how I want to start my lineup. What am I left with here? $9,000 per player. You got Scheffler, Rory, Ludwig, Morikawa, Rahm, all above 10,000. Bryson, Xander, Thomas, Hideki, Brooks, Neiman, Hovland, Fleetwood, Spieth in the 9K. I really like Lowry at the Masters, by the way.
What? I think it's Lowry's birthday today.
Sweet. Fuck, I wish I liked Hideki a little bit more. Hideki needs to show me something this week that he can hit a fucking iron.
Well, assume that he does, and then you got the lineup.
There it is. So that would be my gut reaction lineup. If Hideki's any good, it's Sergio, Bobby Mack, and Akshay, Lowry, Minwoo, and Hideki.
I'll know it if it wins because nobody else in the world is playing that lineup until now when people play it because you talked about it. But yeah, Sergio and some of these guys mixed together. I like it, though. That's a good way to do it.
So I want to scan this to see who. I think actually the Masters is up on Fantasy National too. Yeah. Let me re-up the page. I think Moose just texted me that he uploaded all of the DraftKings pricing, but he could be a liar on that. Who knows? Let's see. Masters.
It's actually pretty solid. They did Scotty's at 12-4, Rory's 11-1. I mean, that's going to be a discrepancy for sure because people, again, unless this injury news picks up or whatever, but just breaking down, now you do get the 10K range, which we didn't get when Rory and Scotty played last week. And then it's still only keeping them in the 6s. So if you have any interest in your boy Kevin you can play him for 6,300. Or Adam Schenk. Adam Schenk's going to win this week and then come out next week and be chalk at 6,300.
We don't have that as and there's no 5K range here, is there?
No, none.
So I'm trying to think if I build a Scheffler, I'm just seeing if Scheffler Rory lineups are viable whatsoever.
No.
I mean, they are and they aren't. I mean, they aren't, but let's see.
Unless Max Homa remembers how to golf again and some other guys come along with it, it's a tough scene when you go down there.
I think you go Highsmith and McCarty just based on the fact that they're both lefties and lefties do well. Just take them. They're both 6,300. And then you can get back up to reasonable players if you want to.
Usually I have FOMO when you start talking about this shit. And I'm like, maybe I should play this one. No worries. Just, keep entering. Go ahead.
Then you can throw Phil into it for $6,700.
My God.
I'm trying to see who the other guys would be. Like, just don't play Brian Harmon at the Masters. He's terrible. Dietrich's at 60. Dietrich at 69 is the best value I've seen on the board so far. Just scrolling through this as first look, I think that he's going to be pretty good at the Masters. And Sergio at 71 is Sergio at 71 will be very highly owned, I think.
What about
I'll throw Adam Scott in because Adam Scott hasn't missed a cut at the Masters in 15 years.
Yeah, well, you can do a pretty cool former winners lineup, starting bottom up.
Starting with Mike Weir?
No. I'm talking the Patrick Reed, Dustin Johnson range, and then your boy Sergio or Scott. You got some other guys in there that you can play, but some of those guys would make sense. They just play well here. It doesn't really matter. I know everyone thinks they're dead now, but it's whatever. That's not the worst.
As someone who's already recouped a lot of money on Phil Mickelson so far in 2025, I don't think that he's by any means dead here.
No, I'm good with that. What
does
that let us get here? Oh, I got it. I got this one. This is a lineup worth entering. I'm going to enter this.
All right, let's hear it.
You go Scotty, Spieth, and then you close it out with Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Sergio Garcia, and your boy Lefty.
I mean, out of all those guys, I like everyone on that. Now watch the dude win besides DJ.
Of course, but it's DJ. It's Dustin Johnson. Whatever happens. I really miss Dustin Johnson, actually. I want to watch more Dustin Johnson. I want Dustin Johnson to make a run at the Masters. I want to see DJ back more than I want to see Bryson continue, more than I want to care about Rahm doing anything. I would love to see DJ come back and play well. I don't know why. I just would.
I'm going to take DJ out of your former winners lineup and throw in Adam Scott instead.
Big mistake.
He's a former winner.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't even like him this week, but I was looking at the other former winners around this range, and there are none.
That was the tricky part for me too. But you could have taken Pat Reed down to Adam Scott as well.
Who is the best value on the board here? Like people will say it's Henley at 84. I could see him getting jammed. I'm now seeing people. Dave Tyndall tipped him as not like as like his pick, but he did this like trend line, and the two best players they tied for all the points that he gave out. It was Rory and Henley, and because Americans have won so often over the past 10 years, he gave the tiebreak to Henley for that. And Cust is saying now that Henley could win the Masters. I've just been seeing this go around. He's only $8,400. I'd rather play Connors, McIntyre, Bhatia, and Zalatoris, Minwoo, and Hatton around him, and Lowry.
So the thing is, Sung J M is by far the most disrespected at 7,300. But do you think Daniel B. Berger gets the love at 7,100, especially after he wins this week for everybody? Big community win.
If he wins, I mean, if Rose wins this week, if whoever wins this week is just going to get that inflated bump. I remember when it happened to JB Holmes when he was like $7,100 or something. Then he came in as the third highest owned guy that year. So yeah, if Berger, I mean, win or lose, I'm going to like Berger here anyway. I've always liked him at Augusta, his game for it. And now he does seem to be getting back to where he should be. But I love Sergio at 71. I really like Reed at 73. Reed's been really good at the Masters over the past 4 years, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like shockingly good. And that doesn't include his win at the Masters.
Well, it's what we know, though. This is the tournament. People just play well. Like, whoever plays well. And what do you get? Like, what are people going to do with Connors at 7,900 after he has another good Valero? Whether he wins it or not is up to, fate. We'll see. But I think in general, Connors is going to play well enough here in Texas. And he always is popular at the Masters. And they kept him at the best buy pricing of $100 less at 7,900.
Well, when we just to take a look at Connors for a second, and we've updated Fantasy National, by the way, fantasynational.com/Mayo for that 20% off. Get the weekly today, get Valero and the Masters with all the strokes gain numbers and just kind of to go back through time. He's actually been kind of disappointing at the Masters over the last little bit. Like he's been 38th miscut the past 2 years after his like top 10 run for 3 years in a row. Not saying he's not going to get back there. And if he comes in with a win, but if he comes in with a win or a top 5, then all of a sudden we're projecting Corey Connors at 20% owned. I'm good taking a pass at the Masters.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think others will. They'll just, discredit those last 2 years. It doesn't matter. And the form coming in, because just looking at it, I don't know who it would be, but maybe if you think Henley gets steam, I think Connors and Berger could get steam. That leaves you almost 8,900. Who's another guy in the sevens that you think would be popular as of right now?
So should you throw me those names again so I can visualize this on the screen?
Yeah, you can throw it up. That's perfect. Connors, 7,900, assuming he plays well this week. Berger, 7,100, assuming he plays well this week. And then Henley, for the reasons you mentioned. He's an average price tag, basically. The trends. I know that you can't spell trend without end, but he is going to pop up because of that at 8,400. So who's another guy so that we can start picking from the big boys? Not that we like, but that who you think others would like right now. Is it Adam Scott at 7,200?
I don't think so because he hasn't been playing well enough.
Okay.
I'm trying to think chalk-wise. A lot of it will hinge on this week. Like if Rose puts out another top 10, everyone's going to be all over Rose.
So let's just put the $7,200 price tag. Maybe it's Rose. People always like them. Some Adam Scott. They're, you got opportunity. Yeah, I think that's good. Now you have 9,700.
It's no different. It's no different as well. Like if Cam Young plays well this week, everyone will be back in on Cam Young. If it is, who the hell was I just looking at? If Sam Burns comes like T3 this week, $7,400. Like so much of that is going to be just projected on. If Keegan wins, I hope he wins because I bet on him to win. He's $7,000. He would go in here. But for the pricing, we'll throw Rose in. Regardless of what happens to Rose this week, I like him as first round leader at the Masters. I like him at first round leader at almost every major. Dude shows up in the first round at majors.
Yeah, I agree. I do like that call. Do you like this lineup rounded out with Rahm and Spieth or Bryson and Hideki?
I am very anti-Bryson at the Masters, unless we get a weather report that it's going to rain, and then I would love Bryson at the Masters. I spoke about this when I was on Fairway Rolling on the Ringer last night, that so much of Bryson's success a year ago just came with how wet it was the first 2 days, that he was able to stop his ball on the green, which he is not able to do, as we saw on Saturday and Sunday, once it dries up a little bit. Like his short game just isn't good enough. it's good at certain places, like at US Opens and PGA Championships, but this style of like feel around the green, he just doesn't have any touch around the green. If you can like bank it into the side, like at Pinehurst, I just played Pinehurst. I can see how he did so well. There's not a lot of like magic you need to do. It's a very simple science formula. You're like, if I hit it here onto the slope with this much force, it's going to pop up to here and then stop on the flat part and roll down. And Bryson's such a good putter that he can get away with leaving it 8 feet short and make the putts. He's not Rory, who leaves it 3 feet short and then misses the putt. But here, you need to be able to break out Phil flops from like 38 yards away to land it up on that tier so it slowly rolls down this way. Like, and that's why Reed ends up doing so well. Like the short game magic is a real thing at Augusta. And I think the calculations of Bryson just work better at other courses.
Yeah, that's why I like the Rom Spieth, for example. You talked about the Reeds, the guys that know it. Phil's the guy. You saw Freddie Couples and Bernhard Langer that year. I know it's a few years now, but like there was that year. What were they both sitting top 20 going into Sunday? Like Phil can definitely do it if he's on for the week. He knows what he's doing and could be up there in the mix for a $6,700 price tag. It's very possible.
I think I know that Ludwig just came second. Maybe he's so good that he overcomes. Maybe Bryson is so good that he overcomes. But don't forget that Ludwig gained 8 strokes putting last year at the Masters. That's a very atypical Ludwig performance. Willie Z has done the same thing at the Masters. For whatever reason, you get him on these greens and he has them figured out. No other greens in the world does he have figured out, but at Augusta, he's got them figured out. And maybe Ludwig's on that same train as well. I think that Rahm is going to be the best play on the board.
Yep. I closed it out with Rom Spieth, so I like that.
You could go Rahm Spieth, or you could go, I would prefer Rahm Lowry, but that's me.
Well, you could also play Ludwig Minwoo.
Oh, I mean, I really like I bet Minwoo at the Masters 2 years ago when he drove number 3 and then 4-putted for bogey. That was fun. But he actually rebounded quite nicely last year, I think.
You gave me a nice one-liner. Win Moo, cash cow. That's perfect. That's your cash cow. Win Moo Lee. You got it.
Where is Minwoo? I'm still looking at the Valero field. That's why. Masters field. Let's switch over to Masters field and see how this goes. Now I can run the entire thing here, I think. So Minwoo at the Masters last year. Where are we at? Minwoo Lee. Oh, Min Che Choi is a guy that we have. Keep putting your questions in the chat right now. Tambo and I are going to get those momentarily. He won in Houston last week. That's really good. He's been gaining so much on putting and losing off the tee. It's really strange. Masters, 22nd miscut, 14th in his 3 appearances. It's pretty good. I think he could win the Masters, weirdly enough.
Minwoo?
Yeah. Like he fits the proper trends to win the Masters. He has the right game for the Maui. You want to talk about like touch and feel? He has touch and feel.
Yeah, he's an option for sure.
Yeah, and I like him as if he's going. I don't know how popular he's going to be coming off the win because I think a lot of people will look at his win and be like, "Man, he was real shaky down the stretch," which is true. But that might just put more people onto Henley instead of Minwoo.
You can play them together as well.
That is true. Let's build one more and we'll do that. We'll go Minwoo Henley. Although I like Zalatoris as the pivot there as well, the up and down. The 2 guys on the other side of Henley, I like better than him, so I want to build it that way. Minwoo Zalatoris.
Let's go Minwoo Zal.
Rory?
I was thinking like the short game magic you were talking about. If you just stay like between putter and short game magic, let's fit it in. What else? Because we still have 8,300 per. So who's the guys down low that you talked about? Reed. And then do you want to stick with Rhodes or do you want to go to somebody else here, like Sergio or something like that? Because
I don't know. I want to go Reed, then Lowry, and then see what we do with the rest of it.
Okay.
So Reed, then Lowry. I mean, Berger has the short game magic.
So how much does that get us? Berger's the same as Sergio and gets us to Bryson, which we don't really want. So who do you want? You like Rahm has it, but then it leaves lefty. Rahm lefty.
The
ASU connection, baby. Get it in there.
I have so many live guys in my lineups already.
That's the only time we get to play them. I actually don't. I will say this though. I don't think it's a thing. Like I know, I don't think they're going to pick up too much steam because of that, just because you don't get to play them any other time. I know we're talking about it, but a lot of it just fits because they play well at this particular course. It may not work at all the majors. People say, oh, it didn't work this year at the Masters, this previous year that they'd be talking about. But I think it does just fit when you come down to some of the stuff that these guys do fit in and make sense. And we're not all in. We have Minwoo Lee, Will Zalatoris, and Shane Lowry. But that's a nice lineup, Pat. I like that one.
All right. I really want
Whoa.
Bryson to win this week because I bet on him to win and Rahm to come like third. And then Bryson's got all people will hear is like, oh, Bryson just won on Live. He's in great form. Remember that happened to Brooks and then he actually was great at the Masters.
Yes.
And maybe Bryson will end up being the same way. But Bryson, if he wins on Live this week, might be the highest owned guy.
That'll be interesting because I think there's a ton of options around him here. That
I agree. I would full fade Bryson if that was the case.
Can you go back to the lineup you just made and look at Phil's picture on DraftKings? Oh, you got it up on the screen. Leave it.
Oh, where is it?
Oh, go. You should go back to.
Yeah. Poor play, man. They're doing lefty bad, man. He's been on Ozempic long enough. He looks better than that now.
Look at Will Zalatoris' skinny face, and then look at Phil Mickelson just taking up the whole blob and then chinned out, triple chinned, everything. They got Phil. They're doing lefty really bad on this.
Yeah, if you went to Live, Minwoo even looks like a lot. I mean, maybe it's just a very close up on his face. Minwoo in this picture looks fatter than Lowry does somehow.
Yeah, how is Lowry's face so skinny? It's crazy.